This is a local buddy in a test environment. So it'll give you an overview of kind of how the app works. It's really, really simple to use. Um, there's been a lot of thought put into how to make a person's life easier. Because the whole problem we're trying to solve here is how do we make it so that we can use AI to help us create an itinerary for our travels. And using just something like ChatGPT is incredibly difficult because you have to be an expert with prompts. So in our case here, we're just going to continue as guest, and you'll see right away you have an option of what you want to do in terms of your trip, like what you want to see. And down here, you'll see some other options. Like here, you can make an account. Here, you can see your past searches if you have an account, so you can always reference those back. And if we go back to just planning out your trip, you could pick a location name, and this could be anything from like the smallest town in Iceland to the biggest city. In our case, we're just going to do Seattle, Washington, because this is close to where I live. You can choose a number of days you want to go for. We have maximum limited to 5, but you can choose whatever you want. In this case, we'll just pick 1. The month you want to go for because in a lot of places, it'll depend on what kind of results you get based on the month that you want to travel. And so in our case, we're going to pick November because it's the month we're in right now, and the group. And so you can further specialize the type of responses you get, the type of itinerary that's built for your trip based on who's traveling. Is it me and friends? Is it romantic couples or whatever? In our case, I'm going to pick a romantic couple. And so what we have here is we've chosen these 4 parameters. The app will work with just 2 parameters. At the very minimum, you need a location where you're going and a number of days, and these bottom 2 are optional. In our case, you're going to hit go, and it's going to start searching. And now this part will take considerably longer than it does in the real product. And the real product is already out on the Android store. We're looking to get it on the iOS store next. But in our case here, it's going to take considerably longer in this test environment. It just seems to it just takes longer here, and it runs much faster in the actual product. However, not as fast as we'd like it to. We still that's one of the areas where we need some funding, really for 2 areas: marketing and getting the speed up to it, so it's much more closer to instant. And so now you can see we get a response here, and the response is going to be broken up by day. So if you chose multiple days, you'd have multiple of these of these boxes that tell you kind of what you want to do by which different day, like what you do for dinner, what you do for lunch, what you do for breakfast. And then down here, and be ads, and there are ads as well. And then down here, you'll see a list of different areas in Maps, in Google Maps, that are integrated into it. So as soon as you click on one of these, it opens up on your phone with the Google Maps to show you exactly where it is. So let's say we wanted to see where this was. You click on that button there, and it tells you exactly where it is, and you can plan it. You can get directions around your phone to exactly to where you want to go, so you can see how far it is away from you and such. And all of this is designed with the prompt in mind to keep it close to the location of where you're at, where you're looking at. And it's not so prescriptive as to say that you have to look in Seattle. You could say, like, I want to look at all of Washington State, and it will give you all of Washington instead of just looking at a specific, like one specific city. You can even look by country. I mean, it's not going to be super useful because unless you go to a very small country in Europe, maybe, but at least in our case, it's gonna work out pretty well if you're looking at specific locations like cities. And so again, it's just performing that search, really, really easy to use. All that the prompt was probably the hardest part of putting this together because you have to be so scientific about your approach to how you want these different prompts to work with all these different parameters and have the parameters change the results based on what you're actually looking for. So you have to get really good at asking the right questions. And this is where having an app like this is really useful versus having something like ChatGPT, because in ChatGPT, it's not easy. It's not easy to sit there and try to ask the question in the perfect way to get the perfect answer. Whereas in our case, this is exactly what it does every time. And so again, it just takes a little bit longer because it's a test environment. But once we, in the actual, and something has failed. Someone's going to stop here.